Iga Swiatek and Coco Gauff just had a tense confrontation on court that nobody saw coming. A disputed line call turned into a face-to-face exchange that had the entire stadium holding their breath. These two are usually composed and professional, but this moment showed something completely different. The tennis world is absolutely divided over what happened. Have you ever watched two athletes you respect get into an argument that made you pick a side immediately? Let me know in the comments. So Iga Swiatek and Coco Gauff, two of the most professional and composed players on the WTA Tour, just had an on-court confrontation that has the entire tennis world talking. This wasn't a screaming match or anything that got out of control, but it was tense enough that everyone noticed. And the fact that it involved these two specific players makes it even more significant. It happened late in the second set of their match. The match itself had already been intense, with long rallies, strategic chess matches, and both players pushing each other to the limit. Coco was playing aggressive, powerful tennis, going after every ball with the kind of fearless energy she's known for. Iga was doing what she does best, moving brilliantly, placing shots with precision, and refusing to let Coco settle into any rhythm. Then came the disputed line call, a critical point that could have shifted momentum one way or the other. The ball landed near the baseline, and there was immediate disagreement about whether it was in or out. Coco thought it was clearly out. Iga thought it clipped the line. The umpire confirmed the original call, but that didn't resolve anything between the two players. Instead of just accepting it and moving on, both of them walked toward the net. Not in a friendly, let's clarify this way, but in a clearly frustrated, I'm not backing down way. They exchanged words. The microphones only picked up fragments, but the body language told the whole story. Coco was gesturing toward the baseline, pointing, making her case. Iga was standing her ground, clearly not agreeing with Coco's assessment. The entire stadium went quiet. Then some people started booing. Others cheered. Some just stood there in shock, because this is not normal behavior for either of these players. Iga is known for being almost robotically calm on court. Coco has fire, but she usually channels it into her game rather than confrontations. Seeing them face to face, visibly upset, was jarring for everyone watching. The exchange only lasted maybe 30 seconds, but it felt longer. Neither of them yelled or insulted each other. No rules were broken. But the tension was thick enough that everyone could feel it. When they finally walked back to their positions, the energy of the entire match had changed. It wasn't just a tennis match anymore. It felt personal. Coco came out swinging harder after that. Every shot had extra power behind it. She was clearly not letting the moment go, using it as fuel to play even more aggressively. Iga, who normally shows zero emotion on court, was visibly frustrated. She paced behind the baseline, took longer between serves, and you could see her processing what just happened. The crowd reaction was all over the place. Some fans were thrilled to see this kind of raw emotion. Tennis can sometimes feel too polished, too scripted, so seeing two stars actually show frustration felt real. Other fans were uncomfortable, preferring the sport to stay professional and composed. And a third group thought the whole thing was being blown out of proportion by people who just wanted drama.
I was super, I couldn't give 100% on that match with Coco. Obviously, she earned it, and she played also really nice and pretty aggressive and everything. But, at the end, I couldn't really move much because everything hurt me. So for sure, I would like to play again with Coco when I'm more fit and ready to run and everything, because with Coco you need to physically be ready. She's running a lot as well, so the rallies can be long.
Social media exploded immediately. Videos of the confrontation were posted, analyzed, slowed down, freeze-framed. Fans started taking sides. Team Coco versus Team Iga. Some people insisted Coco was right to stand her ground and defend her position. Others argued that Iga had every right to disagree and that Coco was making it bigger than it needed to be. The debate got intense fast. This is what tennis needs, real emotion. Coco stood up for herself, and I love it. That was one common take. The other side said Iga had the right call. Coco overreacted and made it awkward for no reason. Both sides had thousands of people agreeing with them, and the arguments just kept going. What makes this moment particularly significant is the history between these two. For years, Iga dominated Coco. She had all the answers to Coco's game. Coco would come out swinging, and Iga would calmly dismantle her strategy point by point. It was frustrating for Coco and her fans because it felt like she just couldn't figure out how to beat Iga. But that changed recently. Coco finally broke through and beat Iga in a huge match that felt like a turning point. Since then, their rivalry has felt more legitimate. It's not just Iga dominating anymore. Coco has proven she can compete at that level, and every time they face each other now, the stakes feel higher. So when this confrontation happened, it wasn't just about one disputed line call. It was about the entire dynamic of their rivalry. Coco's confidence has grown. She's not intimidated by Iga anymore. And Iga, who's used to being the calm, composed champion, is dealing with a challenger who's not backing down. The contrast in their personalities makes this rivalry even more interesting. Coco is all fire and athleticism and emotion. Iga is precision and strategy and calm. When those two approaches collide, especially in a tense moment, it creates something compelling. And that's exactly what happened here. Even other players on tour noticed. Some posted cryptic emojis on social media, some laughed it off. Others stayed completely silent, not wanting to pick a side. That silence from fellow players only fueled more speculation. If other professionals aren't weighing in, it must be because they know how sensitive the situation is. But the most analyzed moment came after the match. The handshake. Everyone was watching to see how they would interact after everything that happened. Would it be awkward? Would they pretend nothing happened? Would there be any warmth at all? The answer was clear. The handshake was quick, firm, professional, and absolutely not warm. No smiles, no eye contact. Just a brief acknowledgement, and then both players walked quickly to their benches. That handshake got dissected frame by frame on social media. Iga brushed past Coco too fast. Coco barely looked at Iga. The tension is still there. Everyone had an opinion. This is where it gets complicated. Both of these players are role models. They're admired not just for their tennis, but for their professionalism and maturity. So when they show frustration or emotion, it shocks some people. But for others, it makes them more relatable. These are world-class athletes under immense pressure. They're human. They get frustrated, and sometimes that frustration shows. In the post-match interviews, both players kept it professional, but you could tell the moment was still on their minds. Coco said, "It was just a disagreement, nothing personal. We both wanted the point. It's part of the game." But her tone suggested she was still thinking about it. Iga said, "These things happen. We both care about winning. It's emotional, but it ends on the court." But she didn't sound thrilled about how it went down. Analysts immediately started reading between the lines. Is this rivalry about to get more intense? Did this moment change their relationship permanently? Will they address it again or just move on? The speculation has been non-stop. Coco's fans are praising her for standing up for herself in a pressure moment. They see it as her not being intimidated by Iga's status as the former number one. Iga's fans are applauding her composure and insisting she was right to defend her position. They see Coco as overreacting to a call that went against her. This has created one of the most polarizing debates of the season. And it's not going away anytime soon. Every time these two play each other from now on, this moment will be referenced. It'll be in the match previews. It'll be in the commentary. It'll add an extra layer of tension to an already compelling rivalry. What's interesting is that both players are still young. Both have long careers ahead of them. Both are expected to define the future of women's tennis. So this moment might just be the beginning of a rivalry that gets even more intense over the next decade. Some former players have weighed in saying this is actually good for tennis. Rivalries need emotion. They need tension. They need moments that make fans pick sides and get invested. A polite, respectful rivalry is fine, but one with real edge is what creates legendary matchups that people remember forever. Others think it's unnecessary drama that distracts from the actual tennis. They argue that the sport should be about skill and competition, not confrontations and controversies. They want players to handle disputes calmly and move on without creating headlines. Both perspectives are valid. But regardless of which side you agree with, this moment has undeniably made their rivalry more interesting. The next time they play, everyone will be watching even more closely. Will there be tension? Will they avoid each other? Will the competitive edge be even sharper? The fact that this moment has dominated tennis conversations for days shows how hungry fans are for genuine emotion and rivalry. Tennis can sometimes feel too corporate, too controlled. So when something real happens, when two stars actually show they care deeply about winning and get frustrated when things don't go their way, It resonates with people. This also highlights the pressure these players are under. Every match is scrutinized. Every moment is analyzed. Every emotion is judged. They're expected to be perfect competitors and perfect role models simultaneously. That's an impossible standard, and moments like this remind us that they're human beings dealing with intense pressure. The debate about whether Coco or Iga was right in this situation misses the point. There probably isn't a clear right or wrong here. It was a disputed call, both players felt strongly about it, and they expressed that frustration in the moment. That's sports. That's competition. That's what happens when elite athletes care deeply about winning. What matters more is how they handle it going forward. Will they address it directly? Will they let it add fuel to their rivalry? Will they find a way to channel this tension into even better tennis? Those are the questions that will define what this moment ultimately means for their careers and their relationship. For now, the tennis world remains divided. Team Coco versus Team Iga. And honestly, that's probably exactly what the sport needs. Rivalries that make people pick sides, that create debates, that add emotional stakes to matches. That's what makes sports compelling. So Iga Swiatek and Coco Gauff had a tense on-court confrontation over a disputed line call. And the tennis world is completely divided about who was right. The moment has added serious edge to their rivalry, and everyone will be watching even closer next time they play. If you want more tennis drama coverage, hit that like button and subscribe.